All right, everybody. Thank you very much for stopping by the Bob Dodd Show. Today, I have a special guest, someone who I recently met at the Peachtree City Dive Shop. His name is Andrew Aycock.
La verga.
For starters, before we get into any introductions or anything, Andrew, you made a really big impression on me at the dive shop. Dude, the vibe that you shot out, immediately I was like, oh, this is a cool dude, man. Young guy, ready to talk, ready to shoot the crap or whatever, you know?
La mierda.
Yeah. And dude, I just dug your vibe, man. And I was interested in getting to know you more. So the more you talked and the more you expressed about yourself, I was like, I gotta ask this guy on, man. I'm looking forward to a friendship with this dude. So I would like to introduce you as my friend, man. So Andrew, thank you for stopping by. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, Bobby Dobby, Bobby Dotty. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, grew up in Fayette County, lived there my whole life. I was in one house in Fayette County in Fayetteville, moved to a different house in Fayette County in Fayetteville. I got two really great parents. My dad's a psychologist. Loves it. He's going to be doing psychology till he dies. Like treating people. I mean, he cannot get paid and still do it. Like, that's just how much he loves it. My mom has been a teacher of many sorts. She's a music teacher. She's also the communications director at her church. She used to work for a magazine doing editing and things like that. So two really smart parents. And then I have a younger brother who I love dearly. He's 2 years younger than me. And I haven't always been the best role model for him, but I think I've finally got my crap together, and I'm really looking forward to the next time I see him. So he lives in Virginia, so I don't get to see him much, but when I do, we have a good time.
That's good, man. That's real good. So one of the things that struck me immediately about you is your charismatic energy.
Yeah.
And we were trying to find out if we bumped into one another before, or, you know, you were like, did I see you in some kind of like music class or anything like that? And we're like, well, that's funny. We do music. Like you labeled like 3 or 4 different things right off the hat, and it was everything that we did.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if that's it or not, but maybe. And for a second there, I thought it was our church that maybe we have crossed paths. And then you had said that you went to Oglethorpe College.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was filming on Ozark in 2021, we were at Oglethorpe. So I was wondering if we crossed paths then, or
maybe. So I graduated in 2020.
Okay.
Right. And that was COVID year. So I was still in Brookhaven until like, I don't even remember, probably like early 2022, late 2021.
Yeah.
And I still had friends there. I mean, I was on campus a lot. So I don't know. We might have bumped into each other there.
Yeah. We were there also in 2018 and 19. So.
Oh, I was definitely there then. Yeah.
Yeah. That was on season 3. But so bumping into you, dude, was almost like bumping into an old friend that I haven't seen in a year. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I said to Andrew, Andrew, you ever think about being on a podcast? And he didn't say no. He was just like, yeah, sure. Yeah. And I was like, you got to come on then. And here we are, man. We're here. One of the things that you said to me was very interesting, because you're definitely into mental health. You're definitely into fitness. Yeah. You're into many different things that I was like, that I haven't had a chance to talk about. Everything I talk about is movies or industry stuff and basically games, because I have friends that are gamers and things like that.
I love games.
So, well, there you go. And but you had told me that you were studying and trying to look up and something about mental psychology for athletes.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, tell me about that, because like I would like to know more about that.
Yeah, so my goal is to be a sports psychologist. However, due to the current state of the Department of Education, I don't want to get into politics, because every leader tries to do their best, right? And no one's going to be happy. Or not everyone is going to be happy. You make one group mad, you're going to make another group mad. So no matter who our leader is, people are going to be upset. What affects me personally is that the Department of Education, the uncertainty around it. So all of the PhD programs around aren't accepting graduate students. And it also, I mean, it kind of affects masters a little bit, but to get your PhD, you have to do research, and the college and the school funds that research. However, there is no federal funding.
Yeah.
So I know people who are trying to get their PhDs right now, and they've been told, all right, well, you just gotta sit around for 3 years and then you can come back. But their earning potential is based on having that PhD.
Sure.
So now they're doing the same, being a waiter, having these low level jobs in their field, and just having to wait to get that degree. So, so my thought process is, okay, well, at first it was, well, I love pickleball. I've had friends ask me to come out and teach them how to play pickleball. Maybe I could do something with that. So I got what's called PPR certified, which is basically just a certification that means that you can, that you're recognized by a professional pickleball organization to be a coach. So
I looked into you a little bit. I saw your rank
really?
kind of high.
Oh, so. I don't know about that. But I work really hard and I love it. Yeah. My Duper rating is like it was a 4.3, and I played my first 4.5 tournament and went down a little bit after that. However, I mean, I'm constantly growing. Sometimes to take 3 steps forward, you got to take 5 steps back. Sure. So constantly learning, relearning things, and actually being a coach, I've learned more than I have from taking lessons. And I have a very, very good coach. There's a former professional tennis player, now professional pickleballer, who lives around here. His name is Donald Young, and this guy's coach is my coach. So Donald Young's coach is my coach. And Donald Young, I mean, you heard it here first. He's going to be one of the top players in the U.S., probably top player in the world. Wow! In like a year.
And he's from Georgia.
Grew up in Georgia. He was a pro tennis player since he was like 16 or 14 or something like that. Yeah. You'll have to fact check me. But since he was young,
there's no fact checking on this show.
Well, I'm sure the comments will, because they do that no matter what, right? Yeah. So he's an incredible athlete. He picked up a pickleball paddle a year ago, and he actually started an organization called Let's Go Pickleball. Okay. So they actually are hiring me as a coach there. Oh, nice. And so there's a lot of factors for why Donald decided to create that organization. From what I know, he had 2 options. He quickly outgrew the current pickleball scene around here just because he's so talented at racket sports and just so talented at sports in general. So he could either move to where the pro pickleballers are, which are mainly in Florida, Austin, all around, right? He grew up here. His family's here. I believe his kids go to school here. He didn't want to uproot them just because he's like, well, I'm playing this thing and I don't even know if it's going to work out. So all of you are going to have to take this risk because I want it. He's like, no. I'm going to do this smart. I'm going to create the market here that all the pros will, and then all the people I want to train with would have a place to come and play here.
That is smart.
Yeah.
That is smart. Why take it somewhere else? And the music scene back in the 40s and 50s was in Ohio and Pittsburgh. It's kind of up north. And then a lot of the R&B, obviously you have Memphis, you have here Georgia, you have Kentucky, you have a lot of different other places that had good music. But there was a scene up there and there was a scene everywhere else. Why? Because you didn't have all the radio play that you do now. You didn't have all the outlets. So things got popular because it was a local device. It was a local thing. So that's starting local. It's what they call it, grassroots, right?
Grassroots.
So
I like that.
He's like grassroots, pickleball here and getting people, basically interested in playing, which is, hard to get people to be interested in anything because lives are so busy right now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Awesome. Yeah. And pickleball itself is it's a different sport. So there's a lot of different theories, or not really theories, stories about how it was made. The one I like to proliferate is the one where a granddad designed it in America. I forgot exactly where. I think it was like Wayne Bridge Island or something like that. I probably got the name wrong, but he designed it. He designed it so that he could develop a sport that he could play with his grandkids and everyone be competitive. Yeah. So the rules are designed. There's no overhead serve. right? So when you serve, that your opponents have to let the ball bounce. What makes it different is that after you serve it, on the return of serve, you also have to let it bounce. So a big strategy in tennis is something called the serve and volley, right? So if you've ever seen a pro tennis match, or like Federer's really good at this. Nadal, Djokovic, anybody who's top 1,000 in the world is really good at this in tennis. So you serve it and then you crash the net, meaning you rush the net, and then you try to take a volley. A volley in pickleball and tennis is taking the ball out of the air.
Okay.
So in pickleball, you can't do that.
You have to let it bounce.
You have to let it bounce, right? So what this does is it puts the serving team at a disadvantage. And volleyball, badminton, table tennis, tennis, all these other racket sports, the server has the advantage. So it makes it so that when you're serving, you have to play really, really well to be able to score a point.
Yeah.
Because you have to score a point, you have to be serving. So I don't want to get too into the weeds about it, but
you can if you want.
Well, yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's a great sport and it's designed for everyone to have fun. You can take a 5.0 level player, which is like once you're 5.0, if your duper is high enough, you can qualify to play in the professional circuit.
Okay.
And you can play against two people who are 3.5 rated and just put a 3.0 person on the 5.0's team. And it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game, right? So, and most sports, you don't have that. Like in tennis, if you're 3.0 rated in tennis and you're playing somebody who's 3.5, like it's not even fun. It's fun for no one because neither of you can push each other. Pickleball's not like that.
Yeah.
So, and kind of in line with the athletic philosophy thing, my theory is that people perform better in life when they're having fun.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I see that in my son's jiu-jitsu class all the time.
He does jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah. I love jiu-jitsu. I'm not good at it, but I love it. I love it.
Well, I tell you, his class is in Peachtree City, so it's not too far from you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What school? Do you know?
It's the Gracie Balance Academy. Yeah, so it's right there. I'm trying to remember what road it is, but it's in Peachtree City.
Cool.
Yeah. And if you want, I can introduce you to Coach Jorge, Professor Jorge.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
You know, like even having this talk about the mental psychology of an athlete, that has to play a role in so many people's lives. Like, especially if you're relying on it, if you're a college player playing in college, not even looking to go pro, but you're really trying to perform and do well just because that's your nature and that's what you want to do and you want to leave a good mark. Or if you're, I don't know, a local baseball player that's playing for, you know, not a professional team, but just like a little league team.
Or on a church team or something like that. Yeah, church softball team. Yeah.
Sure. Doesn't matter what sport it is. Your mind is basically formed a certain way. And if you don't know how to navigate a certain feeling or thought, then you might impose some limitations on yourself that probably don't need to be there.
Yeah.
You know, I really appreciate Coach, or I should call him Professor Jorge, for the way he interacts with his students. Now, I haven't had a chance to see his adult students, but the way he interacts with his young students, every moment, even if it's negative, it's an uplifting moment and a learning moment. I haven't seen anybody do that outside of jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah. And not all jiu-jitsu classes are created the same. You know, we've been to a few of them. And when I say we, my son, and I've watched the coach, and not all the coaches approach those situations in that manner. If you're performing something wrong, whether if it's a bat swing or a hockey puck or tennis or pickleball swing, you don't want to say, stop, you're doing it wrong. You suck at this, man. You really got to get your shoulder and move. Like, you take Coach Jorge's approach and you're like, wow, man, I see you trying really hard. Like, do you know, like, if you try to get your elbow shifted back, or if you do like this particular movement, you might have better accuracy, or you might be able to move. Like, so it's not like I'm sucking at this. You're like, oh, dude, awesome. I see how hard you're trying.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh, this guy is acknowledging the fact I'm trying my hardest.
Yeah.
And he's not telling me I'm doing it wrong. He's just giving me a better way to do it. did you try doing it this way yet?
Yeah.
So I feel like coming across Coach Jorge. Now, I know it's a jiu-jitsu thing to do that, but I haven't seen all jiu-jitsu professors go about it that way. So I think that's pretty interesting. That's why I was so interested in what you were talking about at the dive center.
Yeah. Well, so I'm actually a black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh, nice.
So I have some martial arts experience. I mean, I love Taekwondo. It's a great, it's almost meditation, really. With a lot of the forms and things that you do, it just really gets you in touch with your body and where you are biomechanically and spatially and things like that. Martial arts is really interesting in the fact that it really proliferates the basis behind all challenges in sports, which is fear.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's a movie. I know you work on a lot of movies. I don't know if you worked on this one. It's called Dune.
I know Dune. I haven't worked on it, no.
Okay. Well, so in Dune, there's a line that the Bene Gesserit say, which is, fear is the mind killer. I will not fear. And I really take that to heart. I was listening to a podcast. I have had a chance to really dive in and make sure that this is accurate, but it seems accurate to me. The most common phrase in any theological text that across all cultures, across all time that we have, is do not fear. So fear and excitement are generated from the same part of your brain. Same chemicals, same electrical firings, all that different type of stuff, right? Your brain interprets it differently based on how you're feeling, right? So it's literally the exact same reactions, but you can either be excited when you're trying something new, or you can be scared.
Sure.
And a lot of people think that, look, oh, I'm a badass, right? Like, oh, I don't feel fear. Fear, every situation you're in, it's a different situation, and your brain interprets it differently, right?
Yeah.
So you could be a police officer, and I mean, I have friends who have been shot being a police officer, and they have absolutely no fear when it comes to somebody putting someone else's life in danger. Like they don't even think about their safety. The second they do, everyone's in trouble.
Yeah, they're off their game.
Exactly. Right.
The training sets in first.
And that same dude, he got a Medal of Honor and a Purple Heart for what he did. There was a mass shooter in Hampton a few years ago, and this is a guy who stopped that, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, his name is Michael Rupert. He goes by Alex.
Shout out to Alex.
Shout out to Alex. Hey, he protects us all, and he's scared of heights.
Yeah.
He's scared of heights. He has been shot.
Yeah.
And has had his life affected that way. But, well, okay, he's going to be mad that I said he's scared of heights. He's uncomfortable with heights.
You know, Alex, it's okay to be afraid of heights. You know?
Yeah.
We're humans. We're not meant to fly. You know? So if you are listening to this, Alex, thank you for your work. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. I think that in Alex's training, when you say Alex doesn't have fear, I think that might be, because I know a lot of police officers too. It's not so much they don't have the fear. They're acknowledging the fear. They're trained to handle the fear in a different way. And the reason I say that is because a lot of friends that I know, they do have extensive training on how to react and operate under certain conditions. So their training kicks in. If they do think about their fear, then I think people do notice when it's being looked at or reviewed, you know, that when the fear kicked in, I don't necessarily know, you know, if that is a problem, because I think fear is healthy. You know, I'm sure Alex was like, if there was two shooters, you know, shooting people, he would go about things differently. But he had an opportunity, and he was able to successfully operate within in his training and within his own ability to decipher what he should or should not do, like his instincts.
Yeah.
You know, like if you get a person who is a boxer or an MMA fighter or any combat sport, they have fear. It's just they have dealt with a plan in order to navigate what they're supposed to do. So even though the fear is there, nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to get hurt.
Yeah.
So they have a fear of that. And if they don't have a fear, like Travis Pastrana, I think he was diagnosed with no fear. Like he has the inability
to feel it. Yeah.
So, you know, there's people out there like him for sure too, that might be police officers or, you know, war heroes or veterans or, you know, still in the military now.
Yeah.
But it's just the way the people that decipher the fear and the way that people are trained to handle the fear, you know, it's like it really balances on this like personality. Because if their personality isn't able to handle the anxiety or handle the trauma that's happening to them right then and there, you know, they might be able to learn how to deal with it. But like once they're done dealing with it, they're just like, they go down and to decompress. Like, I can't believe this just happened.
Yeah.
You know, so, and other people that I know, they go through it and they're like, I'm a cop. This is what goes on. It's the personality and the training, how it affects the, you know, the psyche of the actual person. So that's why I'm so interested in, like, your background is neurological. What?
Technically it's called biopsychology.
Biopsychology.
That was the name of the major, but most people don't know what that is. So I call it neuropsychology.
Sure.
So I took a lot of biogenetics, chemistry classes, a lot of science classes. I took all my electives. I took a psychology and neurology classes. But Oglethorpe's a great school. Well, I don't like the word "but" because it invalidates whatever comes before it. And Oglethorpe's a great school. So I also had to take philosophy classes, English classes. They call it. My favorite was what's called the Great Ideas of Modern Math. I believe the professor's name was Dr. Tu, and he actually, I think he won Jeopardy for a week straight.
No way.
And he's a math professor, and he teaches LSAT courses to lawyers
At Oglethorpe?
At Oglethorpe.
Dude, shout out to Oglethorpe being such an awesome school.
It really is.
It's beautiful and awesome all at the same time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to run there as an endurance athlete.
Yeah.
And my coach, Coach Kirk Shellhouse, shout out Kirk. Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. I mean, like the mental fortitude he taught me, I'll remember for the rest of my life.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so back on the line with police officers, I know a lot of them. There's a lot of training they get for how to deal with the situation before it happens and as it happens. The training they get for how to deal with it afterward, I don't think is enough. Any veteran police officer, and really even first responder who has either had to, the first responders don't, or the EMTs, they don't kill people, but they've seen people die, right? And police officers who have to go through the trauma of killing someone, I mean, they play it off as like, oh yeah, I saw this bad guy and I would do it again and all this stuff. What they don't tell you is that every time they go to sleep, they see the faces of the people whose lives they had to end, because they know that was a kid who was loved by someone. Even if no humans loved them, God loved them.
Yeah.
And
I think that's good that you're bringing this up. I haven't brought this up on the podcast. I mean, this could be a serious podcast and a humorous podcast and lighthearted podcast all at the same time. And we do have something in common where we both are friends with a lot of first responders.
yeah,
And, you know, for EMTs out there, you know, to see what they see, a little kid with a broken arm, a firefighter saving somebody from a burning building, whatever it might be, these people are always experiencing somebody else's life at the worst point in their life.
Yeah.
And whether if it's an overdose or a car accident, the first responders are eating it every night. And I think that in order to digest all that stuff, that the systems that they belong to don't necessarily like really talk about how to digest it, Because I don't know any police officer that, you know, other than if they get placed into a program where they're like, hey man, you seen something, you were a part of something, you have to do this for 6 months.
Yeah.
When you think about somebody who has gone through something like your friend Alex,
yeah,
what do you know? Like, what has he said anything to you about the program or the that he has to go through in order to maybe be deemed okay to be back in service again?
Yeah. And he's talked a lot about it. I don't want to get too into police procedure or anything like that, because unfortunately there's always the danger that police officers are amazing people. There's also people who are trying to abuse police policy to promote evil. And I don't want to get too into the police policy side.
Sure.
They need more resources.
Yeah.
They need more resources. And I'm actually planning a charity pickleball tournament. It's going to be on September 11th.
Okay.
And all of the proceeds from that tournament are going to go to what I call PTSD displacement.
Okay.
So what that means is that I actually had PTSD. I endured trauma. I worked at a mental health hospital. Client tried to kill themselves. I stopped them. I got hurt in the process. I pray that no one ever has to experience that. People are going to experience it.
Yeah.
It's life. Got to get over it. It kept me down for a really long time. But eventually, I've always been a Christian, but I never really believed until I was at rock bottom.
Sure. And can you get into the weeds of like what rock bottom was for you then? Because to me, Christianity, you know, some people who they're very academic about Christianity and they learn about it and they're very scholared and they learn from the book. And then there's other people that, you know, I try to learn from the book. I try to learn and read and learn and go to church and learn. But my faith has a more... So my father was in a really bad accident back when I was a young kid.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's okay, dude. This is 35 years ago or whatever. It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I remember being a young boy in a bathroom of the hospital saying, God, you know, if you save my dad, you know, I'll always believe in you. So that's kind of like when my faith of God came about. I had definitely my reservations just about reality and life as a young kid. And it wasn't until when I met my wife that I took my religion seriously. So there was all those years between that moment when I was in the hospital at Allegheny General Hospital and to, you know, the day I met my wife. A lot of dumb things, you know, I wasn't living like a Christian. I wasn't living appropriately. And when you take a faith background into it, I guess to sum it up a little bit is like, you know, there's people who read the book and follow the book word for word, and that's just the way it has to be. And then there's other people who are maybe a little bit like me who try their best and no, it's still not good enough. But yeah, I mean, man, but for Christianity, for you, so you had a dark moment, you were at rock bottom, and that's kind of like what put it in perspective for you.
Yeah. And I'm a firm believer that God is for everyone. So whatever you have to do to get closer to God, I think you should do. So for some people, studying the Bible and memorizing the Bible and really understanding Scripture and diving in on Scripture really helps them live like Jesus did. I say all power to you. I read the Bible. I mean, I've been in church. My granddad was a Baptist preacher. My parents are very spiritual. They've always been very Christian. So I've been exposed to the Bible a lot. I have a difference of opinion with a lot of Christians in the sense that the Bible was written, I believe, the Bible the words of Jesus are not written in the language that he spoke, right?
Greek. Yeah.
Well, they're written in Greek, right? But supposedly he spoke, from what I know, he spoke Aramaic. And then the earliest gospel was translated to Greek from Hebrew.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around.
Really? Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. If you know, I'd love to know what you know.
I don't know much, but I think the oldest versions of the Bible are written in Greek, and it was translated from Greek to Hebrew. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the Dead Sea Scrolls are all Greek.
Yeah.
And, the translations, first translations or the first copies were,
What I had heard was that it was, so Jesus spoke Aramaic. There were Hebrew scribes who translated it from Aramaic to Hebrew, and then from those it went to Greek. So maybe we should do some research and see what the current academic belief is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when it comes down to that, I'm no scholar by any means. I'm no academic.
Yeah,
I can only go by off of things that I've either read or saw on YouTube, and you can't trust YouTube.
No.
And podcasts and things like that. But yeah, I think the oldest versions of all the literature that we have, like that we can actually point to as evidence, was Greek, but I could be wrong. I have a computer. We could look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the part where we can use the computer.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we have it, right?
Right.
And a lot of people use technology to waste time. And it took me a long time to figure out that if you use it as an asset, it's one of our greatest strengths.
Okay, cool. So I have the ability to put this on screen once we find, what we're looking for. So how would we look at it? The oldest known scriptures for
First, let's
Christianity?
start with what language did Jesus speak?
I think you're correct with the Aramaic.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe what is, I don't know. You got a lot more wisdom than I do. And life experience.
Don't say that.
Yeah. I'm sure you do, man.
So
Bobby Dobby.
man, what's the oldest version?
I don't know. While you're looking that up, right?
So the Old Testament, right?
Yeah, Old Testament. Well, no, this would be New Testament because New Testament is what Jesus said. Old Testament.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, the Old Testament, Jesus taught the Old Testament.
He taught the Old Testament.
Yeah.
But there's also scriptures that say that
because the New Testament definitely came out after he was crucified.
Yes.
And risen. So the New Testament, I believe, is him pointing out where we went wrong with the Old Testament.
Yes.
And then the Old Testament is what I'm talking about. The Old Testament, that was Greek translated into Hebrew.
Okay, that might be where it is. Let's look up the New Testament.
Okay, what's the oldest version of the New Testament?
Or maybe the Gospels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm glad I got to check this out.
Yeah.
Do we trust AI?
Well, I mean, if you tell AI to let you know where they got the information from, that tends to be my way to go because you can figure out, is this a trustworthy source or not?
Okay, show more. It's talking about all the greats, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John here. So complete copy. It's the Codex Sinaiticus. Okay, yeah. So the Codex Sinaiticus is the main book, but it's not giving me what I want. I am the worst. So I guess I should look up when did the Codex Sinaiticus. I'm saying it wrong, guys. Please don't hate me. I mispronounce names left and right.
Hey, at least you tried to pronounce them, though.
Yeah.
A lot of people are too scared to even do that.
So it says here the Codex Sinaiticus. I'm saying it wrong. But it says this is a complete copy of the New Testament dating of the 4th century. It is considered one of the most important Greek texts of the New Testament, along with the Codex Sinaiticus. Vaticanica. Here, you read that.
Yeah. I got you. Okay. Here, let's see. Here, I'll move the props away for a second.
And while he's looking at that, once again, shout out to Let's Go Pickleball.
All right.
That's pretty cool, man.
All right, so Codex Fanaticus. This is a really cool keyboard you got here.
That's for editing.
So Codex Fanaticus.
I don't think Andrew knew that he was going to have to go to work.
Hey, this is fun. This isn't work. All right.
And I'm the worst Googler, by the way.
Okay, so it's written in Greek. And then what?
And this is a new thing that we're trying here on the Bob Dodd Show, using this computer. When we bring it up, we'll be able to pull it up and put it on the main screen. You'll still hear us talk. And eventually, when I get more technically savvy, we might be able to do picture in picture.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, tell you what. Maybe I think I actually have it on my phone.
Okay. Yeah.
I can check that out in a minute. Yeah. But I have been diagnosed with ADHD, so I completely forgot what we were talking about.
Join the club. Well, look, we were just talking about the oldest scripture found.
Yeah.
Basically. And I was under the impression that the oldest, I called it the Old Testament, but it was the New Testament, which was the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which was Greek, and then they transcribed it into Aramaic.
Yes. So I'll, you know what? Yeah, I'll get it now.
Go ahead.
I'll get it now.
You can grab it.
I forgot about editing.
Well, this is a non-edit podcast.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So everything that you say, fart or sneeze or cough, it's going to be in it.
I love it. Okay. All right. Let's see if I still have it.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that people talk about with the Greek language is the fact that it is extremely complicated. They have so much more words than anybody else at that time. And people feel that the reason why they say the ancient Greek is older is because you do not make up new words when you translate. You know, they had more words. So Aramaic did not have as many words. So ancient Greek had more descriptive words and more complicated words. That's why they were able to translate it into Aramaic. But, you know, for folks who know about this stuff, you can let us know if we got it right or wrong, or because I'm not an authority on anything.
Okay, so I'm using ChatGPT, so take that for what it is.
Yeah.
So Jesus spoke Aramaic. He might have known some Greek, and he knew Hebrew for religious purposes. Okay. So what? Okay, so according to this, the Gospels and the New Testament were originally written in Greek, not translated from Aramaic or Hebrew. Okay, so I was wrong. I love being wrong. I get to learn.
You know what, dude? Maybe you're not wrong about what the line of what you were thinking, though. You know what I'm saying? Because to sit there and say that, you know, someone spoke Greek. I mean, once again, this stuff was written in Greek and translated into many different languages. That's why, you know, a lot of like academics and classics, they are always at odds with one another because the classics, they know Greek in a different manner than some academics. So you'll see a lot of classics. And for folks who don't know, people who are classics, they are the folks that are literally trained in the language before the religious side of things. However, they're probably extremely knowledgeable on both. So a classic would look at a word and they will learn where the word came from, how the word came about, like the origin of the word, how many times it was used within literature or what all the proof and all the things that they have. And they have basically, what do they call it? They have a knowledge of the word and how and why it was used. So whatever scripture, whatever text that they're reading, after they find out when it was from, then that's how they define how the words were used. Because if you look at language, I mean, we use words for different things, like oh man, that's sick, or that's cap, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the terminology means to us, there is a history behind some of these words. So therefore, the classics will use the history and the time of the words and then say that's why it was translated or said like this. And there's a lot of people who feel differently about translations and things like that. So
I think the whole point, I think I finally remember the point of why I was bringing that up, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of Christians say, well, the Bible says this. But I'm thinking about it. It's like, okay, how do you know that it means exactly that, right? Is that what you were taught? Is that what you believe? So I'm of the opinion that how you interpret the Bible is more important than what the words actually mean themselves.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, Jesus says the only way to heaven is to follow me. What does it mean to follow Jesus? Or what does it mean to believe in Jesus? Right? Is Jesus saying you have to proclaim my name, or is he saying you have to proclaim God's name? I don't know what the answer is. And honestly, I don't know if there is a correct answer.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool to get a biblical scholar and a classic on here that really knows, because some would say that you did not read the Bible unless you can read Greek. And the people who are Christians and really have a deep faith would want to argue that. And what they only know is what the English version had said. They don't even know the Aramaic version or whatever. Like they couldn't even read it in Spanish if they didn't read Spanish. And an academic who studies the stories and the lineage of the stories and the timeline of the stories, they have an idea of what the book is saying.
Yeah.
When you start learning Greek, you see that there are maybe, I don't want to say other ways to interpret it, but there's other things that you get out of it. So what happened is so many different Christian scholars got together and said, we have these people that know how to read Greek. They read it, they translated it for us. And yes, there are words that in Greek we don't have for English. So we have to translate it, interpret that language the best that we can. And then those are the people who are like, we have the main idea of the scripture. Yeah. And the people who have the main idea of the scripture versus the people who can truly read the scripture, like in Greek, they sometimes want to, I don't want to say have a conflict, but sometimes they do have a conflict.
Clash heads.
Yeah. They clash a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you get someone who is as ignorant as me and
me.
Yeah. Then, I am like every human being out there. I rely on my church to bring me what is the best. And I read the Bible and study the Bible that I have. Mm-hmm. And my Bible has dummy notes at the bottom of it to help me really get the idea of what some of the scriptures are saying, because sometimes I just don't get it.
Yeah.
So, it's like the fact of the matter, whoever you speak to, whether if they're just an everyday Christian that goes to church or someone who's an academic on faith or on Christianity, and then a classic who reads Greek and can tell you their version of whatever it might be. I think the fact is it comes back to the reason why I believe is because to me, I experienced a miracle.
Yeah.
So therefore I believe just on that alone. So for the folks who don't know what a miracle is in real life, because people are so battered down these days, a miracle is when you acknowledge something bad that's happening and then you profess your faith to God, and then what you wanted happens, then that's a miracle. There's plenty of stories where you do the same thing and God did not help you. And there's people who are strong in their faith and still are able to have faith past that. But I know for me as a young kid, my father, he was so much rough shape. And I said, please, Lord, I'll do whatever. And I haven't kept my promise, and I know that. But for some reason, I'm still blessed every day. So, and I know other people who are better Christians than me, and some really bad things can happen to them. And they're probably questioning their faith right now.
And so according to your definition of a miracle, which I agree with, same thing happened to me. So I was at rock bottom, and you asked what my rock bottom was.
Yeah. If you're comfortable talking about it.
Yeah. Trigger warning. I had a plan to kill myself that I was going to enact. And the night before I decided to go through with it, I prayed. It's almost making me cry.
It's okay, man.
Yeah.
This is a tough story. I didn't realize we were going to go here.
And I prayed, and I didn't try to make a deal. I just said, help me. Yeah. God, Yahweh, help me. And if I can experience life, I guess I did make a deal. If you can help me love life, I will spread your name to anybody who will listen.
Yeah.
And next day, I, for some reason, decided, all right, I'm going to go get a second diagnosis and my doctor had been telling me to do that for a long time. But I just had to go through with it because they thought I was bipolar. So I went and got the second diagnosis. Turns out I wasn't bipolar. I just was really anxious. I was really depressed. And I also had a lot of ADHD. So I got medicated for those. And then back in August of last year, I was 215 pounds. I'm now 150. Well, I was 158 this morning, but hopefully that's muscle. So I mean, physically, I've been blessed. Mentally, I've been blessed. I'm also a firm believer that if you pray to God for courage, he gives you a chance to be courageous. If you pray to God for strength, he gives you a chance to build your strength. And when you look across people who have very strong faiths, there's a few similarities. One of those is that they've been broken down to the breaking point, and then they become strong because of it. Yeah. So God works in mysterious ways. I don't know how he works. I am blessed to know him, and I will proclaim him till the day I die.
Yeah. With your, I want to touch base on your thoughts about suicide. I mean, a lot of people don't have the cojones to talk about that. And the number one thing that I think about people who are in your situation, and my gosh, like that actually want to go through with it. Yeah. They don't realize that there's tomorrow. Yeah. So with knowing that there's a tomorrow and knowing that you have another chance to view things in a different manner, what was like, did you have help besides just your own thoughts? I mean, did somebody else know this about you? Like what was because like, unfortunately, if you're not religious, if you're not within faith, and I'm going to say all faiths, because if you don't have a higher power above you,
something bigger than yourself. Yeah.
Then it's very easy to get lost in the fact that, you kind of get self-consumed and you think about yourself and you don't think about other people.
No.
And for the fact that you were able to get through this really traumatic emotions, you know, it just proves that there is a light tomorrow. There's a chance tomorrow, you know? So what was your rock? Who helped you?
My dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad's a therapist, and I couldn't even imagine what he was thinking, because his job is to help people get out of depression.
Mm-hmm.
And his son, who knows a lot about psychology, knows everything, that knows all the therapy and knows all the ideas. And I don't know how he felt, but it had to have been tough.
Yeah.
And he was pulling out all the stops. And that's actually how I discovered pickleball.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, Andrew, you have to get out of the house. You have to spend time with people. I'm going to play pickleball.
Mm-hmm.
Come with me.
Yeah.
And I said no. And then next Sunday, it was at Kiwanis Park in Fayetteville. And he said, all right, Andrew, I'm getting out of the house. I'm going to play pickleball. You have to come play with me. I went and played with him. Hated it the first time. For some reason, decided to come back. Mm-hmm. And then I caught it. We call it the bug.
Nice.
Right? I got the pickleball bug, and then I've been playing ever since. And pickleball really helped me deal with PTSD a lot too. Mm-hmm. Because to be an effective pickleball player, you can't just hit the ball hard all the time. Mm-hmm. There's a area by the net called the non-volley zone. Mm-hmm. And if you can hit the ball into that area, it's really difficult for your opponents to hit a hard shot at you.
Yeah.
So, but to hit it into that area, you have to be very present. Yeah. You have to be very relaxed. And I actually got so good at hitting it into that area that I forgot how to hit the ball hard.
Okay.
So then I had to retrain myself on when it was time to act.
Yeah.
Right. So I got really good at staying calm and controlling my emotions on that side. But then, calm is relative. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, right? But then I figured out how to hit the ball hard, and then I realized that there were two sides to it. You got to know when to bide your time, when to be patient, and then you got to know when it's time to strike. Yeah. And then those two things together kind of really helped me learn to grasp with this. And then in, I think it was January of this year, the past 2 years of pickleball, I was what's called hard stuck at 3-5. Mm-hmm. So I was a 3-5 player, and I couldn't get any better. I was trying it on my own. I couldn't figure it out. I prayed to God about my mental difficulties, and then one of my pickleball friends, her name is Shannon, mm-hmm. started really, really improving. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, how do you get better?" And this guy wants to remain nameless, so mm-hmm. I'm not gonna out him. But she had a coach, mm-hmm. and I said, "Oh, could I get his contact?" Had my first lesson, immediately moved up to 4-0.
Oh, wow.
Immediately. One
jump.
Lesson, he got me up to 4-0. Mm-hmm. And then it's just been on the up and up ever since. Yeah. This man is, I love my dad, and my dad is my father. Mm-hmm. This man is a second father figure to me.
Oh, okay.
He's a very successful businessman. So I'm starting a couple businesses, and I've been going to him a lot, asking for advice, how to brand myself. His main thing is that, especially with pickleball, you're not selling a product. Mm-hmm. You're not selling pickleball. You're not selling paddles. You're not selling courts for people to play on that they can reserve. What you're selling is fun. Yeah. Right. So if people are having fun, they're going to want to come. Yeah. Right. And money is secondary. Mm-hmm. Right. If people are having a good time and you're doing good for the world, you'll be able to eat. Yeah. And I was pretty materialistic when I was depressed for those 4 years.
Mhm.
And now I don't have that much money in my bank account, and I'm happier than I've ever been because I got enough to eat.
Yeah.
So if I got $10 in the bank account, I can make that work for the day. To be able to eat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, life is wonderful.
At what part did you just get real with yourself and say, even though I'm faith based, even though that I have a support structure, what was it like for you to like, I really just have to be able to stand on my own 2 feet and get this done? Like, yeah, I have somebody to rely on.
Yeah.
Yes, I have my core values, but still as a man, you had to stand up on your own 2 feet and start walking forward for yourself. Like after that really dark time in your life, that to me, I think would be a pretty significant time period in your life. Cause like you walked away from the dark and you started walking towards the light. So what was that like? Did you have that moment? Did you even think about it in that manner?
I thought about it. There's a actor called John Cena. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Sure. Yeah.
He went on a podcast called the Kai Cenat podcast.
Okay.
And I didn't see the whole podcast, but I saw a clip of it. And John Cena was saying what inspires him. So it kind of starts off, he's saying, well, I used to think that I was a wrestler. And that's what I was. Then I said, well, I'm actually an actor. No, I'm a storyteller. And then it gets real. And he says, no, I'm a human being. I'm significantly insignificant. I just want to help.
Yeah.
Some days when I wake up, I'm able to be proud of what I've done. Other days, I haven't. And some days, putting in work and helping the world means relaxing so that you can do twice as much the next day or the next month or the next year.
Recalibrate,
right?
Yeah.
So so for him, and I take this mindset as well, if you're proud of what you're doing, it was a good day. If you weren't proud of what you did, then okay, well, do better.
Yeah. So
another quote I live my life by, and I'm actually going to get a tattoo of this along with a tattoo of Yahweh.
Okay.
It's a quote from our favorite little green friend from Star Wars.
Okay.
Yoda. Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah.
If you did it, amazing.
Yeah.
If you did not do it, how can you do it next time?
Yeah.
Right? So trying is important, right? But don't get it twisted that trying is the goal, right? Your goal is to do what you set out to do. And if you didn't do it, that doesn't mean you failed, right? Yeah. I have tried to take the word failure out of my vocabulary. There's another video I saw where they said that failure doesn't exist. Mistakes exist.
Sure.
Right? And the only failure really is giving up. So mistakes exist, right? And mistakes are just feedback. So if a mistake happens, then you know, okay, I shouldn't do that again. Where a lot of people can, I think, get it twisted is that they live in the past in those mistakes.
Sure, yeah.
So it's like, for instance, a criminal who gets a DUI. I don't like the word criminal, honestly. Somebody who gets a DUI, right? And their life is affected from it. They got two choices. They can either sit in sorrow of, I got this DUI. Now I lost my job. Now my family's suffering. Now I'm suffering. I'm so horrible. What can I do? I'm so bad. Like, even just talking like that gets me in a bad mindset, right? Yeah. Or they can say, what can I do to help this? Yeah. What can I do, right?
Yeah. For your anxiety, because I'm assuming that you still get it. Like, like the way I use my anxiety, I use it like an alarm system. Something's not right. Like to me, anxiety, because if I look at it like, oh man, my anxiety is happening. Yeah. It's very easy to look at it as like the walls are caving in and falling down on you. Yeah. But if you look at it at a mindset where this is an alarm system, that something is just not going right,
Yeah.
I have to realize that I have no control over this world. You know, I am just an occupant on this spaceship Earth flying around this galaxy, and I have no control in the world. I can't help it if my kid's throwing a car through a window or putting a hole in the wall. Like, I have no control.
Yeah.
Do I really want to have that weight of not having control affect my life? So I'm using the anxiety as an alarm system saying, hey, something's not right. Let's go to the protocol to how to handle that anxiety.
You
know,
I like that.
You know, because I like to look at it as like an airline pilot who they have their alarm going off. They're high in the sky, man. They're in certain death if they don't fix what's going on, right? Because like when you have anxiety, you feel that way. You feel like you've got this like brick. It's so small, but it weighs so much. You know, like, you know, this problem is super small and somebody else would look at it and be like, he's got mad over that. It's like, it's not that I'm mad. I'm just, something's wrong. I'm not reacting the way I want to react either. But it's an alarm system. And I try to have these, you know, values that I like, all right, is anyone doing anything to me? Is something that I'm doing to somebody else affecting their behavior towards me this way? So I try to look at it, like almost analyze what's going on. And sometimes it helps the anxiety. Sometimes it doesn't. You know, if I can just rationalize the situation or scenario that's going around me, then it helps me think like, oh, this anxiety is just a false alarm. There's nothing going on. Let's use these steps to get back down to ground zero and level this plane out, you know? So
I love it. So in psychology, that's called, excuse me.
If you need more water, there's water also under here.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Ooh. Man, you're the hookup, bro. I love this.
I try, man.
Yeah. So in psychology, we call that an external versus an internal locus of control.
Okay.
Okay. So an internal locus of control is you can control what you can control. Stuff happens that you can't control, deal with it. Right? And dealing with it, I mean, that's not the easy part.
Yeah.
Right. Recognizing that you can't deal with it, that's the easy part. But actually managing that is very difficult, right? And then there's something called an external locus of control, which is where I can't control my life at all. All these things happen to me. You're always in reaction mode. You're not being proactive for how to prepare for the things that you can't control. So pickleball is actually really good for that too, because there's something called the wind.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if you can see, but
let's bring this back into.
Yeah. So this is a pickleball, right? If you want to feel that real quick.
Oh yeah.
So it's plastic, right?
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a wiffle ball. It's light. So the wind really affects it. So if you're ever out on the pickleball courts and the winds are over 20 miles an hour, almost no one's out there if it's outdoor.
Yeah.
Right? Because you hit the ball. Like I've been in tournaments where I've hit the ball, it's gone over the net, and then the wind blows it back because it's so light.
Yeah.
Right? So you can't control the wind.
Correct.
And even at this they had a really big pro tournament in Atlanta, and the best female player in the world. I don't know if this is actually true or not. This is just my hypothesis. She missed a shot right as the wind blew, right? Because it messed up where she was contacting the ball and she couldn't get it over, right? She can't control that.
Yeah.
And what makes her the best player in the world is the fact that it didn't bother her.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I missed it. All right, next shot.
It's amazing people have that superhuman power.
Yeah.
You know, like they might have it in that. Who knows? Maybe they don't have it in other avenues of their life. But to be able to realize you're not in control of this world, you know, it's like it's kind of like it should be alleviating, you know. It should be nice to say, I can't control that. What do you want me to do? I have, you know, nothing I can do about that. Yeah. A lot of people don't have that angle to look at it where, oh man, I have no control over this. Like for instance, let's take a scenario where you're in traffic and you're already 3-4 minutes behind. You have to get to work. So many people get road rage over that because if this fender bender didn't happen here in Atlanta, everybody knows fender benders, but if this fender bender didn't happen, I wouldn't be late. And they don't know how to realize, like, look, that fender bender happened. There's no control over it. You have to wait until it's clear for you to go. And the person who might be your superior also has to have that same view sight. However, because people lie, people mislead, they admit to things that give you partial true information. You know, like, we develop these concepts in our head that this other person, like, yeah, whatever, you're late, you're always late. And it's like, no, there was really a fender bender. For people who are able to, like, navigate with no animosity, no trife, like, they're just able to be like, oh man, well, I'm glad you made it. Like, that's good that you made it. What do you think psychology wise is going on in people's heads that are positive versus those who are negative?
So I don't think that mentality is something natural. You talk to a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, and they say, especially siblings, right? My brother and I definitely had this problem. Andrew, why'd you hit your brother? He made me mad. That is external locus of control.
Okay.
He didn't make me mad. I chose to be mad, and then I blame him on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think some people are raised in an environment, whether it's by their parents or other things, right? Mm-hmm. Where they realize that, hey, control what you can control. Yeah. Right. Once you focus on what you can control, you realize that you're wasting so much energy on negative things that don't help you. Mm-hmm. Right. So your traffic example, right? So yes, everybody needs to come to an understanding about it. Right. The person who is stuck in traffic and beating themselves up because they didn't leave early enough is wasting energy.
Yeah.
Right. Like 95% of your consciousness, mm-hmm. you have no idea about.
Okay.
You can't process. You're aware of like 5% of your cognition, right? That 95%, your brain knows that, right? So if you focus the 5% that you can control on mm-hmm. something if you focus your mental processes on something you can control on something that's out of your control, I mean, you're at like 1% processing used for when you finally do get to work. And instead of saying, sorry, I'm late, I'm ready, let's go, you're saying, oh, sorry, I'm late. And then it takes you 5 minutes to start thinking about the actual issue. And then your brain starts picking all these things that are more pleasant than coming to the terms that you are late, which is like, well, have I checked my email yet? Have I talked to this person yet? Oh no, did I do this? Did I do that? And really, you just got to focus on what can I do right now?
Yeah.
But people get it twisted, right? They mm-hmm. think when they say, oh, what can I do right now? They think, oh, what can I do once I get home? Or what can I do tomorrow to fix this? Mm-hmm. What can you do right now?
Yeah.
This moment, right? And the biggest thing that I tell my clients is control your breath. Mm-hmm. You control your breath, you control your body.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is like, you also said too that you meditate also. Is this also something like, I'm really interested in, because like you had said when we were at the dive shop, you said that you were trying to do this sports athletic
philosophy.
Yeah. With your business idea, because mm-hmm. this is a business idea, mm-hmm. correct? So like with your business idea, what's your angle? What's your avenue to reach out to folks who could benefit from this? Because I tried looking it up and it doesn't seem like it's out there. Mm-hmm. You're the only person I've ever heard to talk about it. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if you invented it or if you just saw it or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, do you know people talking about it at all?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah. So I tried looking it up and I really didn't see anything out there that shows your angle and approach to this. How can somebody reach out to you, or how can you open yourself up to somebody that can reach out to you and say, hey man, I'm here at whatever I'm a baseball player, or I'm an athlete. I'm trying to run track. I got a marathon coming up. I'm a triathlete. I got a 2-mile swim ahead of me, or whatever that might be. How can you help me fix my mental state right now? Or how can you help me with being better? Like, how can I get a hold of you? Like, how would you help them?
So, I have an Instagram page, started it up pretty recently. It's called DatBoyAndrew73, DATBOY Andrew 73. Shoot me a follow on there or a message. It's a public page. A link to my website is going to be up there soon.
Okay.
The website was supposed to be live today. The code is difficult to work with, and there's something called the React Core, and I got to fix some plugins, and I'm gonna get there, right? But it will be live. Hopefully, it's supposed to be live by 11 p.m. tonight, but we'll see when that actually happens.
That's okay. And this year, I won't even this might be a week and a half out. This podcast. So So with that in mind, you can give me your website. You can give me all of the links that will help somebody get to you. Because I think what you're trying to do is very interesting. I want to know more about it. Like, what's your goal to help people? Like, what are you going to help them with exactly?
Having fun.
Like, just learning how to like take whatever they got going on and having fun with it. Win, lose.
And I mean, I think that everyone in America is blessed. Because with the laws we have, right? If you are starving to death, I'm not suggesting to do this. Anybody listening, I am not suggesting to do this. If you are starving to death, you can go into a store, you can steal food, and you will not be killed for it.
Yeah.
You will not have your hand chopped off. You're gonna go to jail, and what do they have at jail?
Food,
right? So I mean, it's not good food. It's not food you would want. It's not food that you should be putting into your body. You're not going to starve to death.
Yeah.
Right. And am I saying that all of the policies in America are perfect? No. I think there's a lot that any country can do to improve. But gratitude is the attitude. Right?
Yeah.
Gratitude is the attitude, and Yahweh all the way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, because I think when you and I were talking off air, or not on the YouTube, Spotify, all those this is going to be on. The fact is I like your approach, and I like the fact that you're looking at having fun and being able to basically digest a sport and getting somebody in the right mindset. How that also, if you're a person out there that is having a difficult time, this is going to help you be able to get into the proper mindset in order to basically allow yourself to improve. Because a lot of times the limitations are always set up top in ourselves. I can't hit the ball that hard. Oh man, I'm a golfer and I can only hit it 180 yards. Whatever the case may be, you have to be okay with things that you can't control. And you either have to learn how to control your parameters or learn how to control your conditions, or you have to learn how to accept the fact that you can't switch things or change things to your benefit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're going to be able to help people with, mentally, and get them on the right process, and somebody who has dealt with, mental demons and has navigated through it and is on the other side.
And I'm still navigating through it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, we learn every day, and we battle every day. Folks that have anxiety, folks that have, just trouble dealing with things. I have so many military friends that have been through certain things. Where I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, wasn't a great place per se. So I know folks who had to deal with loved ones being on drugs and just all sorts of different things. Like our mindset, and we can move on from this after this, but our mindset is like so one of my friend Richard, he's an airline pilot, and he said something to me that I was like, it blew me away a little bit. It's like, you're looking in the mirror all the time. looking in the mirror is not like a good philosophy thing like that you should do. People always say, look in the mirror, man, and you got to change it, because we train ourselves to see what we see. You got to look at through somebody else's lens sometimes to really see what is actually happening.
Yeah.
So I think that with that, like we should learn how to look through somebody else's lens and basically be happy with the situation we got going on now, because it's always going to be dark and bad, you know, like if you let it, you know, as long as if you let it.
So there's a saying in running, and this will be the last thing on that.
Yeah.
That one of the athletes that I ran with proliferated, and then our coach really embraced. Pain is mandatory. Suffering is optional.
Dude. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That should be on shirts more than I know about now. If it is on a shirt, I don't know, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
But dude, that's really interesting to think, you know, because when someone has a really good saying and they put it on a shirt and they put it on a bumper sticker, I sometimes get alleviation just from seeing that, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny what humor can do, and all the, my gosh, just like, if you're not laughing,
what are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
If you're in a job, you're in a bank, and you're not allowed to laugh because, you know, so-and-so is having a bad day next to you. That's all right, man. Just laugh to yourself.
So there's a study, I think it came out from Europe.
Okay.
Where I'm not sure the exact years, but if you hate your job, it takes a significant portion of your life expectancy away.
No way.
It's more dangerous than being an alcoholic.
Wow.
If you hate what you do, it's worse for your health.
Wow.
And personally, I think America was built on neighborly compassion.
Sure.
Right? It was built on, we don't like people telling us what to do, how to live, and not having any representation for it.
Mm-hmm.
I am worried that what it has turned into is, how much money can I get?
Oh yeah.
Right. And greed's a dangerous thing. Right. And a lot of people struggle with greed. I don't think I struggle with greed. I struggle with pride.
Okay.
That is the thing that every day I got to watch myself on. Like, oh, I helped this person beat this pro pickleball player.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do anything. I gave them the opportunity to do it themselves.
Sure.
Right. And it makes me really happy that they did.
Yeah.
Right. But expecting that recognition, I think that's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, pride is a deadly sin. So,
yeah.
You know, it's like, it's okay to acknowledge your excellence, you know, but to do so where you expect someone else to recognize it, that's where the pride is dangerous.
Yeah.
You know, because you should be allowed to maybe enjoy the moment of, oh man, I beat Ricky Bobby, or I did this and I was able
Ricky
to.
Daddy.
Yeah, I was able to climb whatever mountain, you know, and swim to it 2 miles as a triathlon, you know, like it, you know,
if I win Ricky Bobby, how can you run?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's cool that, you know, that as long as you know it's okay to be happy about it, then you should rock on with that, man.
Yeah.
Shoot. What other things are you really, because when we were looking you up, we noticed that you were definitely an athlete.
Yeah.
Are you at all musically trained because your mom was trained at all in music?
Yeah, I played viola for 7 years.
Okay.
I played a little bit of guitar, a little bit of piano, a little bit of singing. It actually drove my mom crazy because I love sports so much, and she wanted, I mean, I don't know if I had talent or not in music. People told me I did, but I was like, the first day in 8th grade where I ran on the track team, I was like, Mom, I don't want to do viola anymore. And her face was just like, oh no.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, sorry, Mom. But I mean, she knows me. Like, once I have my mind set on something, I'm like all the way in. And so, but the issue with that mindset is that sometimes I have my mindset on the wrong things.
Sure. I mean, we all have our, what do they call it? We always have our eyes on the prize that we think we want.
Yeah.
And then there's sometimes when we get it and you're just like, and that didn't fulfill at all what I was hoping it would fulfill.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I love singing.
Okay.
When I'm in my car, I freestyle rap a lot.
Okay.
I really, I mean, I just think it's fun. I just love it.
Who's your favorite hip hop artist?
Ooh. It's going to be controversial. It was Kanye until he really, I don't know if you've seen that song he released.
You know, I'm so out of the world right now. I know Kanye is an artist first, and he's done a lot for a lot of people. So I think that the song that I think you're talking about, I think was meant to really strike up some talk.
I hope it was that.
Yeah.
I hope it was that, because if he's serious, that is really going to taint my perception of him.
Never meet your heroes, kids.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. Meet your heroes, but understand that they're people.
Yeah. It's just, you know, and the fact that Kanye's got this, I haven't not heard the song, but I heard what it is possibly about.
Yeah.
I just automatically was like, I'm not going to listen to it.
Same. I haven't listened to it either.
Yeah.
One of my friends tried to play it for me, and I was like, turn it off. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. You know, as like, I'm not a musician. I do play guitar, but I'm not a musician anymore.
You're a musician. You play the guitar.
Yeah, but
you're not a professional musician, but you enjoy music.
Yeah. Okay.
You're a musician.
Okay. We'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. Shoot. But I noticed that my avenue in listening to music, it's words always come last to me. It's always the music. It's always the way the person is singing. I don't know what they call that, the cadence or the vocal, that performance. Yeah, that they're doing.
Yeah.
There are songs that I love from when I was in high school, and I'm trying to show them to my kids now. And now I'm like, oh, they're saying that.
Yeah.
I was not aware, or I did not know. I've been singing this song for 30 years and I didn't know they were saying this.
Yeah.
And now I'm showing it to my boy because I'm like, dude, you got it, because he plays drums, you know. I'm like, you got to check out this drum fill. And then like all of a sudden it's just like, I can't show you the song, you know. But it's interesting what we do choose to listen to, because if you listened at all, if you checked out my podcast at all before you came on, my friend's in a death metal band.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. And we were using his one of his songs for our opening music.
Yeah.
And due to that, we're getting copyright strikes and things like that from the label that he's on.
Of course it's a label.
But you know, we had to stop using it. And I eventually have to go re-edit the videos in order to take that music out. So we don't, so, you know, if there's any chance of us making a cent off of this, we want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So we have to take the music out. But my music choice, you know, does not reflect my spirituality or my faith or anything, because I listen to so many different things. Because when I was a young kid, I listened to music and I was never in it for the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, you do recognize good lyricists.
Yeah.
You know, you do recognize like somebody has a really poetic way to create a sentence that hits hard. Just standalone, just the sentence that they said just stands alone and it hits hard.
But music's about the vibes, man.
Dude, heck yeah,
it's
man.
It's the vibes, man.
Man, that's why I love reggae too. Like, I'm a big
reggae.
Mm-hmm.
Clear Conscience.
Okay, yep.
I love both of those.
I'm more Roots. That's newer
Roots?
stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I like the Roots. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the more. No, I'm not the Roots, the band. I'm more Roots reggae, like old school 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Oh, what's that guy's name? I'll have to look it up.
No worries.
There's one dude that I love that you'll probably know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I love music. I love music. So before I now before I run, I used to listen to really heavy dubstep.
Okay.
Because I love that, like Skrillex, Zed.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that Zed was a piano prodigy before he decided to go to EDM.
I think you could tell that by his composition or
Yeah.
his compositions.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a ton of EDM artists I love. What I've started listening to is because I've been reading lots more sports psychology research, and I need to develop a mindset when I'm competing of I am going to win and I'm going to run through a wall to make sure I win. So I've actually started listening to the Doom Eternal soundtrack.
I haven't heard of it. I'm gonna have to look it up later.
Oh my gosh. You want to talk about, I mean, you know the game Doom, right?
Yeah.
So like you're literally fighting through hell and demons and all this stuff. And Mick Gordon, who's a composer of it, he wasn't on the newest game, which I'm honestly thinking about not playing because he wasn't involved.
Oh, come on, man. Give it a shot. You might find something else out new.
Maybe, but I mean, from what I understand, the producers didn't want to pay Mick Gordon what his contract was for the first one. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. Like I love the music, right? But the algorithm for the game changes the music based on where you are. So you can play the same level like 5 times and the music's different every time.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, I love that. But it does have like a standard soundtrack that's on Spotify.
Okay.
But I mean, it's like it's based on metal, dubstep, electronic music, but it's like that. If you're a police officer and you're about to go into a situation where you got to hurt somebody to protect other people, that's what's going through your head.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Womp, 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 womp.
and then you get that dun, 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 dun. I mean, it's just like, it's great. But I love dubstep. There's also this new style of, or I don't know if it's new or not. I recently discovered it. It's like a drill. Have you heard of UK drill?
You know, so I've heard the term drill, and when I'm looking at like all of the audio files to pull from the resources to put and to edit videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The drill comes up every once in a while.
So within drill, there's I think it's a newer subsection. It's called, I call it EDM drill.
Okay.
So it's a UK artist rapping with a UK accent.
Okay.
And it's a heavy EDM beat on the after it. There's one song called Backbone. Okay. That I've been listening to nonstop.
Dude, for the folks that are listening to, check it out. And what name of the artist again?
Oh, I got my phone right here.
Yeah, we got to give shouts out to all the all the people that are listening to the things that we're into. Because one of the things about this podcast is, so Bob Dodd show is all about showcasing interesting people that come into his life, whether if I bump into him at the dive shop or if I bumped into them at work or if I helped pick up a couch and take it into their house when they were trying to move and they didn't know me before. And I'm like, you need help with the couch, you know, like, so we're interested. You're now a character on the Bob Dodd show and you'll be expected to come back.
I'm just me. I'm not playing anybody.
Well, no. Character is a term for somebody who's going to be on here. Not that you are somebody who you are not. Yeah. So you are now a fixture within the Bob Dodd show, and people are going to want to hear from you and see how the business is going and everything. So they're definitely going to be interested in what this drill, because like when you talk about drill, there's a group called Fantagram, and it's an artist that got together with Big Boy, and they became Fantagram. Okay. So Big Boy from my brain is escaping me now, but he's a rap artist, and they got together and they have a really good album, and they talk about one more drill, and I think they have a particular type of beat. It's not electronic, it is musical, but I think that is similar to what you're talking about.
So the name of the artist, Storms is the rapper, I think, and Chase and Status is the EDM version of it. My favorite rapper of all time is a dude who passed away, named Young Dolph.
Don't know this,
So and this goes to all the kids out there that love rap. Everything that Young Dolph rapped about in his songs, from everything that I've been told, and I've met people who've met him. I've met people who know people close to him.
Is he from Georgia?
No, he's Memphis.
Memphis? Okay.
Memphis. Israel. You listen to the songs, you're going to hear a lot of drugs, a lot of killing people, a lot of jail, a lot of friends going to jail, a lot of friends getting killed. He's dead now.
Yeah.
Right? He lived the life. He's dead. Don't be dead.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, like, if you want to listen to the music because you like the stories behind it, that's great. But don't think that that's a way to live your life if you want to be happy.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of folks who are my age that when they get a mindset and they use the term, I think I've been bumping too much Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
Like they reference that. They reference that they were listening to their favorite rapper who probably lived an extravagant lifestyle or a dangerous lifestyle. Yeah.
And Young Dolph died because there was a drug deal that went bad, and somebody saw his camo Lamborghini parked at a donut shop, ran up with the AK-47,
took him out. Man,
don't live that life.
Drugs will take your life no matter which way. If you're out there chasing the dragon, I'm so sorry about that. But for you guys that don't know what that means, good. Keep it that way.
Yes.
And for folks that are allowing drugs to be a part of your life, you know, man, listen to it. I mean, whether if you're selling drugs or doing drugs, it's going to take you.
Yeah.
It's going to take you.
And a lot of people think marijuana is a pretty safe drug, right? So new study, I think it's from Norway, came out. It's either Norway or Iceland. Your chance of developing psychosis, which is temporary break from reality, is 1 in 100 if you don't smoke weed. If you smoke weed, it's 1 in 5.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's really wild.
And that's if you're smoking straight weed, not all the fentanyl-laced stuff that we have out there on the streets now.
Yeah.
Right?
That's wild. I would like to get somebody in here to actually talk about these studies and things like that. I feel that, you know, when I was growing up, I've never done weed. I never done any drugs. People would probably, I mean, I didn't even really drink alcohol until later in life anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not because that's the way I wanted it. I was already having a hard time being me. So it was like, I shouldn't say a hard time. I was having a difficult time being me, let alone allowing a substance to come in and try to alter it and learn that new way of things.
Yeah.
When I did drink alcohol, for instance, when it was legal for me to drink alcohol, I remember I would abuse the alcohol because I didn't know how to work it. I didn't know how to
manage it.
Yeah, I didn't know how to manage it.
How to release the tiger.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, right?
So, and I was also like a social light or whatever. I would go to an establishment with a bunch of different friends and, you know, I would be not enjoying my beverage with, you know, one friend, and I would try to, because I just paid a lot of money for it, I would down it so I didn't waste my money. And then I'd go to another friend and they're just getting a beer, you know, like, and I didn't know, like, I didn't have to do that. Like I didn't have to get a fresh beer. I could just wait, drink a water. I didn't know that until later on in life. So my experiences of drinking any kind of alcohol were very little to none. Like I didn't drink much. And, you know, I had a friend tell me one time, "You never smoked weed with us?" I was like, "No, man, I never smoked weed ever in my life." He's like, "I could have swore you smoked with us." I was like, "No, man, that's because you guys were doing it and I was around probably, you know, but, you know, I never did it." And he was like, "Oh man, I always thought you were doing it with us." And it's just like, no, it's probably because you were smoking it. That's why you thought it. And same thing with the drinking, you know, like people were like, "Oh, did you drink that night?" I'm like, "No, man, I'm the one who actually was the DD that night."
Yeah.
So I became...
And you're a DD who stayed the DD, didn't show up and then become a not sober driver, right?
Yes. Well, I have a thing about drinking and driving. This gentleman, his name's Patrick, and to not give too much information out, he told me a really sad story about he went away for the military, and when he came back, he was expecting his wife to be there, and when she wasn't there, her parents were there, and they had to tell him what happened. Yeah, and this was when, you know, like, gosh, 20 years ago, he was 70. So, you know, if he's still alive, you know, he'd be in his late 90s right now. So anyway, he told me that story, and he told me how he met his wife. So I have this whole story to feel the way I feel, but to not divulge it all now. But I kind of like had this like feeling like, oh man, I can never drink and drive. Not that I haven't done that before. I have done that before, but it wasn't like I was 3 or 4 beers into it and then trying to drive, you know? So I don't know if I've ever technically drove drunk, you know? I've had
like above the 0.08.
Yeah. I don't know if I was ever above that.
And maybe next podcast we can talk about this, because I think I got to head out. I got a pickleball game.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, you gotta be the
So to leave them ready for more. I was a paralegal before I did this.
No way.
So I have seen the goods and the bads of our criminal justice system, and being intoxicated or being distracted or not sleeping well before you drive. I mean, driving is a privilege, and your license is a privilege. It is not a right.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it there. More people are affected by driving accidents than you will ever realize. I don't mean you, I mean our audience.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, I live in Georgia. My insurance went up 50% from moving from Pennsylvania to Georgia.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just tells you how bad drivers are in Georgia, or how many accidents.
Yeah.
But dude, hey, you know, I want to thank you very, very much for coming on, dude. This whole podcast thing, I mean, you took a shot in the dark with me here. Hopefully you had a good experience.
I couldn't have had a better one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward for you to coming on again here in the future. You know, I want to thank everybody who's listening, who is watching, because this is a audio and video podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to get more from Andrew later on, and we're always going to be staying in touch, and he'll be on again. So if you're interested in getting a hold of him, he'll give me the information. It'll be in the description. And thank you very, very much. Yep. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. Share, please share. Because, you know, one thing I know is this is a brand new podcast, and all of the people that are coming on here, you know, you should get to know them too, because they're really good people. So thank you very much for coming on. Thank you for coming on and giving us your story and sharing your life with us. And hey, come back again, guys. We appreciate it.
Bobby Dottie, I'll be back.
My man. I appreciate it, dude. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.